general documents, the document that was really stressful for me, especially, not only me, anyone who wants to utilize application fee waivers. If you're applying to several schools, then recommendation becomes the most difficult thing for you.
Hello everyone and welcome to another series of tutorials on how to navigate the struggles one faced during the graduate school application. If you haven't watched the previous video, once you're done with this, go tackle it because Ebenezer shared with us some in-depth information on one of his struggles he faced. In today's episode, we are going to delve a bit deeper into the other challenges he faced. So Ebenezer, let's hit the ball running.
So with the other challenges, I will say that it has to do with the documents that is required. The general document that is required to submit, and one of the general documents, the document that was really stressful for me, especially, not only me, anyone who wants to utilize application fee waivers. If you're applying to several schools, then recommendation becomes the most difficult thing for you. Getting recommendations for the one school is not easy, but think about getting recommendation to 20 or 25 schools. So this is how I was able to go about this. And for me, my story was it wasn't just the recommendation, because these people, I went to them 2019, I went to them back in 2020, and 2021 I also had to go back to them. So it wasn't an easy thing, but I think how I go about this was I realized that instead of me reaching out to only 3 faculty members and asking for letters, I would rather reach out to several of them. And for me, like I said, I was a TA, so I knew a lot of lecturers. I had that relationship with them. So I took 6 recommendation letters from my department, that is economics, where I majored. And because I read sociology in my level, 100 and 200, I went to sociology department to take 3 letters from them. So I know I had 9 recommendations. So what I was doing was that I would use these lecturers for this school. If they do it, then I keep track of those who are applying, doing for me. I'll keep on. If I see that this one is fed up, I replace him. And that is how basically, so how I was able to go about it. So I think that if you are coming to start your application, don't wait to face the challenge before going to more people. If there's 3 people, just reach out to 5 people, and you don't necessarily have to reach out to the top people on campus, like the dean or those with a big position. Reach out to those who know you well, that can talk about something personal. Those who have known you for long years. Of course, if you see most templates, you say how many years has this person known you. Some people may be willing to adjust more years for you. Some may go straightly by saying that I've known you for just 6 months. So just don't go to people you think they are famous. Go to people who you think can write a good recommendation letter for you. That is what I would say. And try to reach more people. Tell them in advance before you even start the application, so that when you reach them, when you start, it becomes easier because you've communicated with them earlier. It becomes easier for them to do it. Mind you, you're not the only person requesting recommendation from them. So you want to tell them in advance. That is the first thing. And you also want to reach out to several people, so that if one disappoints you, you have alternative people. And one thing I also want to add is you don't necessarily need a lecturer to be your recommender. When you look at most schools' website, they will tell you that.
Before we get to that topic, I want to chip in something with regards to recommendation letter. And it's also not really just about them writing a recommendation letter. It's about writing a strong recommendation letter, because sometimes it's the recommendation letter that serves as a tie between if they will choose student A over student B, because for every application there's a number of people they will have to take for that session. So let's say maybe there's a one last slot and you are going neck and neck with somebody else. GRE, you have GRE, the person has good grades, you bring good grades, the person has good grades. You bring voluntary where the person has voluntary. It's like everything is like, yeah, neck to neck. So now they need a tie.
Right.
And obviously whoever has the best recommendation letter, whoever like whatever is being said is really strong, it serves as a good barrier. So in as much as you say like the deans, the provost, it's nice to have like a big person's name on your recommendation letter, because obviously for a big person to be willing to write a
Right.
recommendation
So,
letter for you,
yes.
it means that you are doing something right.
Hmm.
But what is the essence if they're writing a letter for you and it's not strong enough?
Yeah.
And one thing I also suggest is obviously for most of our professors, for like an example, you said that you did sociology for like 2 months and like you for 2 years, no, two
Two years.
semesters or two
2 years.
years. Yeah. So then now like you were done. One thing I always advise people is like when you are requesting for a recommendation letter, add your CV, add your updated CV for whoever is writing a recommendation letter to know that, oh, this is what I've been up to. Some people also ask that go draft the recommendation letter and bring it to me. This is where you have to sit down, because sometimes if when they say go and draft it, you don't even want to do it. So like you yourself, you don't even want to do the draft. It is the professor you want to take their time. So just go online, look for good or strong recommendation letter, draft something good and send it to them, be like, hey, you know what, this is, or even if like it's been difficult for them to like write your recommendation letter, send them a draft and be like, yeah, Shagna, I just did a bit of draft, so you could look on that to edit that to suit me. So that's what I wanted to chip in with the recommendation letter. So now you can talk about the professional getting a recommendation letter
Yeah.
from the
So,
professional field. Yeah.
for recommendation letters, sometimes some of my colleagues will be like, I've completed school for so many years and I can't, you know. So, what I realized was that what I've come to realize is that if you've been out of school for several years, sometimes they pardon you, because I've seen a couple of people,
Yeah.
several of them who are with on fully funded scholarship, that they submitted letters from their job place, because they know it's not even easy for those who completed recently to get recommendation letters. How
Originally.
much more that you that have completed 5 years ago. But if you can get so, and that is one, then I also know that in some schools, but generally they prefer, that is what they prefer. They prefer that you have someone who can talk about academic background. But aside that, they need someone who's your advisor, your supervisor, or any other, someone who can write a good thing about you. So if you can get two lecturers and someone from your workplace, that is cool. So that is also what I wanted to bring about, that it's not only compulsory that you need to bring lecturers, but you can also bring people from professional background. And depending on your program as well, I believe,
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but I believe that when you're doing a program like public administration and you are submitting a lecture from, you are working with local government, you are getting someone from that place to write a recommendation for you, you know, that is what public administration and some of the positions, that is where they end up working. So basically, I'm not so sure, but
Yeah.
I think that it depends on what you want to do and how, who can write best about, who can convince them most.
Yeah, because when you talk about that, I agree with you on that, but I also agree that it depends on the program you are studying. And maybe I think if they will consider it about the fact like you've been out of school for a long time, and
Yeah.
also depends on your program, because like for maybe research masters or research focused programs, the whole idea is research. So they need somebody who can attest to your academic background. But
Yes.
yes, if you've been away from school a long time, the thing about applying for studying abroad is it's communication. It's they are all human beings. It's human beings you're interacting with. So it's up to you to like explain to whoever is involved that, hey, you know what, I know you are looking for this, but unfortunately, like I've been out of school for a while, and I think this person is the right person to speak on my behalf as compared to like somebody else. So I think what were some of the struggles we faced with other documents, or it was just the recommendation letter?
No, so GRE, I want to talk about GRE, you know. when you write GRE, the assumption is that it really helps if you write GRE. Trust me, because I wrote GRE, I was able to apply to a lot of schools than my colleagues who couldn't write GRE. In the sense that if we get a waiver code, now we all have access to the waiver code, but the school might be requesting GRE, and those who don't have GRE for that particular program,
Okay.
you become, I mean, shorthand. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, you can't apply to this. So that is in that aspect, the GRE really helped me because immediately I wrote the GRE, and it means that every application that I will end up applying to the ones that I wanted. So in 2020, I was able to apply to a lot of programs that I like because
Okay.
I had the GRE and I had a waiver code. However, in 2021, I have spent all my money. I didn't have enough money to like I mean invest like I was able to do in 2020. And one thing about GRA is that you can submit it to only few schools. That is
Yeah.
even in the when you write it for the first time. So I wrote it in 2020. I was able to submit it to four schools, and the other schools I have to pay for them.
Pay for it.
So I was paying for other ones. I paid like four. So that is also money. In 2021, I was not given any four schools off because I've already utilized those four already in
Was from
2020.
there.
So it means that every school that I have to apply in 2021, I was going to like pay for it,
Yeah.
GRE for them. So I have to pay the application fee and I have to pay GRE, which was a lot for me. So what did was that if I get the waiver code, I use it to apply to the program in that particular school that I'm best suited for, because
Okay.
the one that I prefer, I might not be able to apply for it because they are requesting for
For
GRE.
GRE.
One thing people don't know too is that this school requires GRE. It doesn't mean that every program in that school requires GRE.
GRE.
So when you see that, oh, this school requires GRE, it doesn't mean that that school requires GRE. Just go to the department and ask the coordinator that, hey, I saw that the program requires GRE. I want to confirm that this year are they waiving it or they are not,
Yeah.
because I told a friend, it's really helped a friend of mine to beat her because the girls, I don't want to say it's a girl of like if you ask the coordinator, you are likely to get to know whether they are waiving it or not, because I know a situation where they don't update their website.
Right. Yeah.
So it's on the website that they require GRE, but when you reach out to the coordinator, they'll be like, oh no, you are no longer taking the GRE, so you can submit your application. So a lot of people miss out on these things because they don't talk to the coordinator. They don't confirm from them whether they are requesting it or not. So that is one thing about the GRE. Um, then the next thing I will want to talk about is the English proficiency letter. In US, you see on the website that we require IELTS and TOEFL and all those things. And it's true, some schools require it and some schools do not require it for certain group of people. What I've come to realize is that if you are from an English speaking country like Ghana, Nigeria, because English has been a mode of instruction from your childhood to the tertiary, they normally waive those scores for you, those English proficiency tests for you. But some schools, no matter what you do, like a school like Columbia University, I'm not either Columbia or Yale, I like exploring Ivy League schools. So I know that these schools, even if you school in US, you did your masters in US, and you're applying to these schools, it's like I'm not sure it's one of them.
Yeah.
There's either Columbia or Yale, you need to submit an English proficiency letter, even if you had your masters from US. When I wanted to apply to one of the for PhD, and I saw on their website that they require it, and I was like, wow. So this is where the coordinators also come in. Confirm with them before you submit an application, and you'll be forced to go and write it. And I mean, a test you are not prepared to write. So it's very important to confirm from your coordinators rather than your friends, because your
Yeah.
friend program might be different. You have a friend there, they will tell you, oh, they don't require it. Submit. I was able to, unless the person was able to, for example, when I was applying to your Montana, I knew Montana, they require English proficiency letter. And I wasn't willing to write it. I wrote to them and I realized that, oh, okay, they would rather have an interview with me. If I'm able
Okay.
to express myself in English, they can get it wait for me. So if I
Okay.
had not communicated with them, I would have lost that opportunity, or I would have gone to write, because immediately I write to the graduate school, they will tell me that English proficiency is compulsory. But when I reached the department, they had this interaction with me and they worked for me. So reaching the coordinators or the program administrators, like, it's really important. Even though there are certain things you don't have to like talk to them, you can just ask the graduate school. But the coordinator, establishing that rapport with the coordinator too, is very, very key in all aspects of the application.
Application. Yeah.
GRE, recommendation letter, everything. If you are not certain, just read them. So that is thing, some of the challenges I faced with the documenting how I went through.
Yeah, and even like with regards to even like the English proficiency test or writing the IELTS, some schools you can actually even finish the application and they'll give you admission letter, and it'll be like before they can finalize the admission letter, you need to submit like your doc. So actually, so like it's very important to know right from the start. Like don't go and waste your time having to do all the application. You've gotten admission and be like, if you really want to come, you still have to write the exam. So to summarize this session, like for the recommendation letter, you suggested you get as many people as possible who are willing to
Yeah,
take that, and your advice people to write the GRE because it opens that, even though like it's money intensive, like it still
yeah.
opens more doors for you.
And
And
the GRA, the recommendation, talk to the lecturers in advance before
yeah.
you start the application.
Okay. Hi. So thank you very much. It was really helpful. Like, do you have any final words before we
I think
say
I said what I
goodbye?
wanted to say.
Okay. So thanks once again. And if you have any questions, just leave it in the comment section.
The
And
only thing I would say is they should go and subscribe to my channel.
okay. Yeah. So he has a event vlog, right? Yeah. I'll
Yeah,
leave it in the description box. So
yeah.
do subscribe and go listen to more of the wisdom he's going to share on
I
his
mean, I like
channel.
freestyle, so if you want more freestyles, come to my channel.
Awesome, awesome. Hi. So, if you haven't yet subscribed, do hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to get notified for new videos. And until you hear from me again.